So this is a really different video, but I had something happen yesterday, and the way that God answered prayer was unbelievable. So need to share this with you. If you're just here for the Bible teaching, you can go watch one of my other videos. But I think the way that these last few days have unfolded, and kind of my mindset going in, and then some things that happened, just learning a lot about prayer and intentionality and responsiveness to God's leading and all of that. So you'll hear this kind of through this story. So this is going to be kind of an unedited, unfiltered, just conversation that we can have. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts in the comments afterwards. But a little bit of context. It's currently Wednesday. I don't know whether this video I'll be able to get time to upload it today or tomorrow, but it's Wednesday, the week before Thanksgiving, 2025. I just flew in last night from a weekend in Oklahoma. I was there for a couple events. Sunday night, I did a parenting family event at a church in Tulsa. But the main thing that kind of brought me there was I do a lot of partnership with the YouVersion Bible app. So if you're familiar with that app, if you're not, go search Bible. It'll be the first thing that comes up. I'll be doing more about that. But I've created some plans for them, and I've done a few verse of the day videos, and I have a video series in there, and I've done some different things. And they had this kind of two-part event on Monday that was a partner summit that was during the day for like 5 or 6 hours during the day on Monday for anybody that is a partner. So it could be the Bible publisher side of partnership, or it could be the content creators side of partnership. And so as a content creator, I was one of the people that was there. There were probably 750 of us that gathered at one of Life Church's locations. And then that night there was a huge, crazy huge, in the Paycom Arena, which is where the Oklahoma City Thunder play. 20,000 people or something, 20,000 people gathered for a night of worship celebrating 1 billion downloads. So that's the background context. I really didn't know what to expect from this event, from both of the day-long partner event and the night celebration. Didn't really know what to expect. I wasn't bringing anybody with me. I was just going. I really don't know very many of the partners. I've heard of some of them. A lot of them are authors and speakers and that kind of thing. So I've seen some people. But the whole time kind of going in to registering for the event, to flying there, being there, getting ready to go, even driving there that morning, part of my own morning journaling and my prayer was, God, lead me to the conversations that I need to have, the people that I need to serve, the people I can learn from, and the people that I can share with. I don't know anybody here. I'm going alone. And it's so rare that I'm going to an event where I'm just attending and I'm not speaking. And so I just prayed that and was trying to just be sensitive to God's leading. And throughout the Partner Summit, there were some cool conversations. I definitely met some really, really neat people. Got to have dinner with a guy named Tom and a guy named Ricky. Do some really, really cool things with YouVersion, and had great conversation, great burgers with them, and great time just hanging out. So, but I got back to my hotel and I was talking to my wife on the phone, and I just told Carrie, I just said, I feel like the event was great. Oh, and the event that night was amazing. Go to bible.com/billion and watch the replay. It was unbelievable to see so many different people that were there. Speakers that were there, Louis Giglio, and then Craig Rochelle, the pastor of Life Church, and Bobby Grunwald, the pastor that invented, that came up with the idea of the Bible app in a TSA line. Hearing their stories, Christine Kane was speaking there. There were a lot of speakers, but then there were also a ton of musicians that came and shared, and Kerry Jobe and Cody Carnes and Phil Wickham and CeCe Winans and KB and Lauren Daigle and Matt Redman. I mean, just all these crazy things. And during the, so I'm telling Carrie at night, I said, I feel like the event is over. I'm flying home to the next day, tomorrow afternoon, which is now yesterday. And I don't have any plans. I didn't set up any meetings. I didn't, and I just don't know that I feel like I had kind of that conversation that God, this is the conversation that you had me here for, as much as I loved the conversations that I had and the people that I got to meet. So, anyway, I'm thinking through the day, and a few things happened. One, at one point during the Partner Summit, during the day-long training, there were some people that came up that were the leads of the different YouVersion hubs around the world. So there was the hub from Europe, and the hub from South America, and the hub from Australia and stuff. And when Dave, the guy that leads the Australia group, when he was speaking, he was just sharing how much he was hoping and encouraging the partners. At one point, he just said, the whole Australia team would like to give a hug to anybody who's willing to create plans that are for people who are brand new to the Bible, because what we're finding more and more, what the back end statistics are from people that are using the Bible app, is that more and more are people who have never read the Bible, who have no Bible background, who open it up and have no idea where to start. Whereas really what used to be and what they really thought would be that it would be Christians that are wanting to look up the Bible during church, and people that already had some type of faith, and they're just finding more and more and more people who don't have a faith background and are not familiar with the Bible are open to reading the Bible. In fact, at one point they said 80% of Gen Zers in a survey responded that they were open to the Bible. 80%. It's crazy. Awesome. And I remember just thinking, I hope I get to run into him at some point during the day. And I kept my eye open for him and never saw Dave the rest of the day after the stage, never got a chance to talk to him. But I was just thinking, that's a guy that I would like to have a conversation, because that's exactly the kind of Bible plans that I want to create, because that's a lot of what I do on my YouTube channel here is I have a whole playlist, Bible study for beginners, and walk people through and whatever, but turning that into reading plans tied to specific passages of scripture and stuff. That's some of what I'm working through. So I was thinking, Dave would be awesome to talk to. And then at another point in time, they brought up the first ever, what they call the YouVersion Mastermind, which are some content creators. There are 4 different content creators that have done a ton with reading plans and verse of the day and series, and they've just really, really poured into creating content. Some of what I'm trying to do more and more with YouVersion. And the 4 people were Jackie Bledsoe. He and his wife have a parenting, a marriage podcast. And one is Scott Savage, a pastor who's got also is a speaker and author and stuff. And then Rachel G. Scott, who's an author and YouTuber and podcaster and all that. And then Jen Weaver, who has a podcast and is author. And I'm sitting there, and I'm at that point for that session, I was fairly near the back of these 750 people. And I just thought, that is a group that I would love to sit with. Those are the people that the idea of entrepreneurship and dreaming and mastermind, and how can we creatively come up with ways to serve people and get people into the Word. And I'm just hearing them talk and seeing them honored in the group. And I'm like, someday I want to be a part of that mastermind, that YouVersion mastermind. And so throughout, at one point in the day, I was talking to Chuck Porter, who's a guy that works full-time for YouVersion. I had met him a couple years ago when they had asked me to do a verse of the day, because he's really the guy that's in charge, or is part of the team that really is hyper-focused on what you see when you first launch the app, what's on that home screen, including verse of the day and what they now call guided scripture. And so, and I was just talking to Chuck and just said, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I don't fly out until 2:30 in the afternoon, and would, if you're free for coffee or whatever. He's at the campus, we're having, we've opened up our new office building, and we have like this Bible experience thing of of like a interactive deal in the first floor that walks through the journey of the Bible app and the Bible itself and all that. And so he's like, well, come by. And I was trying to think, so Oklahoma is a couple hours later time-wise. It had been a busy day. I mean, I left my hotel at 7:45 in the morning, got back at, I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, on my feet, talking to people the whole day, all this kind of stuff. And I was just thinking, oh, it would be nice to sleep in, whatever. But I just felt God saying, okay, so drive 15 minutes further away from the airport where you need to end up to go to an open house of an office building. And so I went. And I got to tell you, this is where the answered prayer just kind of got crazy. I walked in and said hi to a couple people, and Chuck was standing right there. Said hi to Chuck and some of the other people that were on the team, Jen and Deidre and Kendra, and some of the people that had been on the stage the day before at the platform. I mean, at the Partner Summit, and I got the chance to say hi to them. But when I went into the interactive exhibit, the four people who walk in, right, that I'm holding the door for, that walk in and we walk in together, are Dave, the guy from Australia, and his wife, and two of the other members from the Australia team. And so I introduced myself, and he says, "Hi, nice to meet you." And then I said, "Well, I heard what you said on stage, and I'm coming for my hug because I am planning to create more and more plans specifically for." And we talked about my YouTube channel and stuff. That ended up leading to us. He was going to get pulled into a meeting, but that led to a short conversation that was both of us saying, "Hey, let's get on a Zoom call sometime really soon so we can write these," because he said, we've actually done a survey of these people in Australia who are looking for Bible plans, and we have narrowed it down to the 100 questions that these people are asking about the Bible that would be perfect for a Bible plan. So I want to get on a Zoom call with you so I can give you these 100 questions, and you can start creating Bible plans that help these people that are brand new to the Bible answer these questions. And so I'm just like, oh my goodness, that was awesome. Well, I go through the exhibit and everything. Then I come out into the lobby, and more people have come because I came kind of on the earlier side. Well, some of the people that are there that I end up getting introduced to are the four people from the mastermind. And so I'm standing there and taking, and maybe I'll even, I'm not going to do a ton of editing on this video, but I'd like to kind of put some overlays of a screenshot maybe of the picture that got taken of me with a bunch of these different people, and Jackie and Rachel and Jen and Scott. And so we're just kind of chatting and starting to walk, and then people kind of are doing their own thing and everything. And at one point I just start chatting with Jackie, and he asked me about my ministry, and we start talking, and he says, "Oh, how long have you been doing YouTube?" And so I start talking to him about my last kind of 3 years of intentional stuff on YouTube and creating more content for YouTube. And he starts asking me questions about YouTube, and then he goes, "Hey, come here." And we walk down this hall and go around this corner. Well, in this side room, you've got these four people from the mastermind. I mean, so Jackie's walking with me, and he takes me into the room where there are a handful of people, but three of them are Rachel sitting at a table, Scott sitting at a table, and Jen standing there talking. And he says, "Hey, Rachel is just wanting to grow her YouTube stuff, and we want to hear what you have to say about this." And we bring in guests sometimes to talk at these masterminds. Or would you want to come in once a quarter? Bring in somebody once a quarter. Would you like to come in and talk to people, talk to us, and talk to the other people about this? And so then he says, "Well, pull up a seat," and we sit down. And so I end up sitting. I said I crashed your mastermind party. So we ended up exchanging information. I now have Zoom calls set up with a couple of them, and another is gonna, has said that she wants to reach out, and And that 45-minute to an hour conversation that we had just talking about YouVersion and what's working to connect people with plans and how are people getting served best and how are people really getting helped and what plan, I mean, and how do you then connect people that want to go deeper into things. I mean, it was one of those things where we got about 20, 30 minutes into the conversation and I said, guys, I need to stop. I said, this was the prayer that I prayed when I was on the plane coming here, that God would lead me to the right conversations. And little did I know that this was exactly the conversations, that this was the conversation, that I'm sitting there. And I said, I'm even getting chills. I mean, I said, guys, I'm getting chills right now because I feel like I'm currently experiencing an answer to a prayer that I prayed several days ago. And they said, we feel the same way. We feel like this was a divine appointment. I've gotten a couple texts from these guys saying it was a complete divine appointment that we all got the chance to sit around and talk and just dream a little bit and now connect offline and it's been amazing to see that and as I've been reflecting on that and as I was driving home and as I was even journaling this morning about this and just talking to God about this, I feel like some of what I'm learning about prayer and in growing in my own conversational journey with Jesus is this idea of not just prescriptive, God, this is what I'm doing and I want you to bless it, but God, lead me in the way that you want me to go. Lead me to the people, lead me to the conversations, lead me to where I can serve or where I can learn or where I can grow. And then the kind of the second piece of that is this intentional paying attention. This idea of not just praying, but then being intentional about keeping my eyes open and trying to follow the little whispers, the little bits of leading. And if I would have not had any of those conversations, I would have gone home and gone, that was a really cool experience. That partner day summit was really cool. The Beyond the Billion celebration was unbelievable. All that kind of stuff. And then if I would have just said, you know what, this has been a long couple days of speaking on Sunday, going to this deal for whatever that turned out to be, 15 hours or something like that on Monday. And I'm just going to rest and get a few things done, answer some emails, sleep in, whatever. But just feeling God say, go to this open house of this office building and just be there for people and see what I have. And it was so going there and then having those conversations. And then just as the icing on the cake, I go to the airport. There was a guy there that actually in the lobby that thought he had a ride with some other people to the airport and didn't. So he was about to spend, Uber's gotten so expensive. He was about to go get an Uber. And he's like, did I hear you say you're going to the airport? And I'm like, yeah, we ended up having lunch. And so if you happen to be watching this, hey bud. So Kent and I had a great lunch and conversation and all the way to the airport. And so then we get to the airport and we run into one of the other people I had talked to that I'd been introduced to the day before. You may know Rachel Wojo. She's written a lot of books, has a great podcast. So she and her husband Matt were there in the airport. So we're all standing there talking. And then walking past, just behind, kind of over the shoulder of Rachel, I see Matt Redman, who is somebody, he's one of the singers and worship leaders from the night before, as well as somebody who is a former worship pastor, I've been singing Matt's songs forever. I mean, as long as I can remember playing guitar and singing songs, even though Matt and I think, are pretty much the same age. But it was, and so I said, hey, Matt, and then called him over, and he just stood and chatted with us for a little while. He was early for his flight, and he just chatted and got a picture. I'll probably figure out if I can overlay that on this video, because I'm not going to send this off to my video editor. I'm just going to do it. So, but it was just one of those things. I'm flying home and I'm just like, God, you have been so good on this Tuesday, which was the one day that I didn't have events. My speaking event on Sunday went great. It was so good to connect with people. There was a great turnout, good feedback. I loved doing the ministry. Then on Monday, the partner and the celebration in the evening and all that, that was really cool. All of those were cool. But then to have this day that I thought was going to be just kind of a sleep in, get some work done, wasted morning, that responding to that little voice that said, go to this, ended up leading to this whole series of meetings that when people talk about coincidence, I have a friend of mine that always called them holy happenstance. So just to experience the holy happenstance of God's answered prayer. So I hope that was encouraging to you about how the simplicity of conversational prayer that doesn't just ask God to bless what we're doing, but ask God to lead me into what He is blessing, into what He is doing, into the conversations He wants you to have. And then pay attention. And then obey. That this idea, I remember years ago talking about that our prayers should be to ask and then expect and then obey, to ask God to show us and lead us, then to expect that He's going to actually do that He wants to do that He wants to lead us, wants to guide us. Be open to that, be paying attention and expect it to happen. And then when you feel that little prodding, to actually obey. And who knows, God might just do exceedingly more than all you could ask or imagine. So hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to put the links below to each of those people, those 4 people, because you need to follow them. I mean, the stuff that Rachel and Scott are creating, and Jackie and his wife, and Jen, so I'm going to put the links below in the description of this email. But definitely check out their stuff. They all have reading plans on the YouVersion Bible app, so if you're on that, go find them and follow their partner pages as well. And I'll link to my partner page as well, because I'm going to be doing, that's part of what I'm doing in 2026, is not only doing a lot of stuff here on YouTube, but also doing a lot more in partnership with YouVersion and the Bible app. So I will see you in one of those places, and as always, I will for sure see you in the next video.